Hi everyone, I'm excited to share something that could totally change the way you look at competitor analysis. Let's be honest, keeping up with competitors is exhausting when you're doing everything manually. What if you could automate it? What if you could get a complete professional report in just minutes? That's exactly what this automation does that we're going to build in this video. And I can't wait to show you how it works. First of all, let's look at what the flow is when we are actually executing it. And then we're going to look at the make.com automation and at all the other stuff and build it out. So here we have our Market Edge Insights competitor analysis tool, and you get some details. We're using Typeform here, so this is the form page that we're going to use for this automation. You could use any other form tool. So here we're entering our username, then we're entering our email address, then the URL of the website which we want to analyze. So let's say I want to analyze the competitors of OpenAI. So I'm going to do that. Then the website's name. So I'm going to call this one OpenAI as well. And then what the area of focus is. So mention the area of focus on which you want to compare your competitors. So I'm going to say I want to focus on products. Okay. So what are the differences in our products? This will then trigger an automation here in our make.com scenario. And once all of that is done, we're going to get an email. So this is what the email looks like. And then inside of the email, we have a beautiful PDF where we have our competitor analysis. Really cool stuff. It's a very nice looking email with some good information. And obviously you could go ahead and read through it if you wanted to, but I'm not going to bore you with that in this part of the video, maybe later. All right, so let's go ahead and build out this automation. And by the way, if you feel overwhelmed by what we're going to build and you don't know what's going on here, then I would recommend that you check out my AI automation specialists community. You will find the link in the description below. There you get access to the AI automation masterclass where you will learn how Make and Airtable work, because these are the two tools that we're going to use throughout all the automations. Make for the automation processes and Airtable for the database. And there you will also just get the template that you can then download. So the blueprint that you can download and import, and then it would be a lot easier to build all of this automation out. Okay, so let's go ahead and build this out. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new scenario. So this new scenario, I'm going to call this one competitor analysis YT, standing for YouTube. And here we're going to start with Typeform. So you can just enter Typeform and you will find here watch responses. That's the one that we're going to use. So you see you get this little flash here, which indicates that this is a trigger. So then we need to create a webhook. Therefore, we need to select a connection. And in my case, I already have a connection with my Typeform. Otherwise, you have to set up a connection here. You need to give it a name and then you can go from there. And then once you are connected, then you can select the form and you can have multiple different forms here. So here you can create a new form, and you see the one that I'm using is this Market Edge form. I want to make you aware of something. They have a free plan, but the free plan only has 10 submissions. So if you want to run this automation multiple times and you screw up a few times, then you will very quickly get to those 10 submissions. So be aware of that. Make sure that you only once you're really fully done with the automation, or you, you are at the good spot where you actually want to test it out, only then do you do a submission. Otherwise, you would have to jump onto a basic plan in order to run like 100. Well, then you have 100 responses included. So yeah, I'm a fan of their user interface. I'm not so much a fan of their business practices, but it's something up to you. So this is just an example tool that you can use. You can also obviously use the form directly in Airtable. So you can build out a form, but they usually don't look as nice as they do with Typeform. So that's just something to be aware of. And I wanted to share with you before you run up all of your free Typeform submissions, just so you're aware. So then I'm going to select this Market Edge form here. And with that, I'm going to click on Save. And I'm not creating a new connection here. I just have this Typeform which waits for responses now. So once I get a response, what I want to do is I want to create an Airtable entry. So I want to create an entry inside of my database. So here, for example, I have this database where I have a table called site data and competitor. All right, so here we have our competitors that we want to check out based on the website that we have entered. Okay, and it will create competitors every single time if we find some new competitors. So what we need to do is we need to create a new base. Therefore, you can copy my base. So we're going to share the link. Therefore, we're going to create a new base. And by the way, in the school community, in the link down below, you can also just get access to the base. Then you don't need to build all of that out. And then let's create a new base from scratch. There we are. And I'm going to call this one comp analysis YT, and the table, I'm going to rename that to site data, and then we can go ahead. So we will change that to an ID. So this will be a auto number, which I'm going to call ID. This will be an easier identifier. It's just better to have something that is unique. So I'm going to also get rid of all the entries that we have so far. Get rid of those. And let's also delete these fields. So I'm going to delete them here, and there we are. All right, what are the fields that we need? We need a username. We need an email, where I'm going to select email here. Then we need a site name, the site URL, which will be a URL. And then we need the area of focus, And this could be, well, let's make it a multi-line text, long text here. Then I'm going to add a created, well, actually I can just say a created time here. There we are. And then I want to have my competitors, which will be another table here. So I'm going to say competitors, which can be a single line text for now. Then the improvements that we can make, improvements, which also will be a long text. And finally, I want to have the analysis itself, which is going to be an attachment. So this will be the PDF file that we have at the end. All right. So now we have all of those set up. Now, actually, let me change that competitors field into a link to another record. And I'm going to create a new table for that, which I'm going to call competitors. All right. So there we are. I'm going to skip lookup fields, but now I have this competitors table. Let's also take care of that. I'm going to change this field here to be ID, and also an auto number. It just helps with making sure that we have a identifier, unique identifier, a key, so to speak. What is it that I want to save for a competitor? Well, I want to have a name, which will be a single line text here. Then I want to have the strengths, which will be a long text, and the site data. I think that's it, right? So name, strengths, site data. Okay. So the site data will just link to that site data. So whenever we create a new site data and we have a competitor, it will be stored in competitor. All right. So now we can use this Airtable. So we're going to create a record here. So we're going to say that we want to create a record based on the type form. And then here we need to create a new connection. So I'm going to enter a connection name. I'm going to call it comp_an. Airtable auth is selected at the top, and then I need to give access to the base. So I'm going to give access to this comp analysis base, and I'm going to grant access. All right, so this will be able then to create an entry, and then I can select the base, which we just created, which is this comp analysis YouTube base. So it's the one that we just built here in Airtable, this one here. All right. So what table do we want to work with? I'm going to say inside of site data. That's where I want to create something. So I want to create info that I get from this Airtable. Unfortunately, we didn't run it yet. So let me actually unlink this for now. So I'm going to make sure that I can run it once. If I want to run it once, I need to click in here and select my webhook. And I'm going to say, OK. And now I'm going to run this once, and this will now watch for a response. And it will watch for a response from my type form. So from this market edge type form. So let's go ahead and enter some data. So I'm just going to refresh this page. I'm going to say start. And here I'm going to enter my name, then the email address and the site URL. So the website that I want to check, I'm going to use make.com. So what's the website? It's called Make. And the area of focus is automation. All right. So let's submit that. And we should see that we got a response here with some answers. So answer 1 was Denis Panuta, then we have the email address, then we have the URL, and so forth. So we get all this information, and now we can link them together again. And then we want to enter the username, email, and so forth, which we get from the type form. And in case it doesn't appear for you, you will need to set up a Airtable module here from scratch. So I'm going to create a record inside of my Airtable competitor analysis. So Airtable comp n. Here I'm going to select the competitor analysis YouTube, and then we can select site data here. So the next thing that we will need to do is we'll need to make sure that we get this mappable answers. So that's what I want. I want to have the username. I want to have the email, the website URL. Well, actually that was the site name. So let's use your website's name. And then we have the website URL and finally the area of focus. Okay, so now that we have that, we can set up a router. So let's select router here, and we have two possible options. One of them is that we want to go through an auto completion from OpenAI. So create a completion here. I'm going to use my OpenAI connection, and then I need to select a model. So I'm just going to select GPT-4o latest, and then the role will be user. So add a message here, user, text context. I'm just going to use the site URL. So I'm going to paste that in here, my text. So for the following website, identify its top 3 competitors, and then I say what the website URL is, and we get that from down here, so from the website URL. All right, then we can go to the next step. We can parse it. So what I'm going to do is I want to parse the data, the output accordingly. So therefore, I'm going to use a text parser here. So text parser using a advanced match pattern. And the pattern that I want to use is very simple. It's actually just this here. So you can just type it out. This should search for global matches, not be case sensitive. It should check out multi-lines, and the rest can stay as is. And the text that I want to get is the result that I'm going to get from this OpenAI module. All right. So if you are wondering what this pattern is, this is a regular expression pattern, and it just allows you to take the text that we get from OpenAI in this case, and then only get a certain part of the text. So if you want to dive deeper into it and understand what this regular expression does, so here, this is what the individual components do. So this matches the beginning of a line, this matches 0 or more of any character, this matches a literal dash, and this here defines the capturing group, and finally this matches 1 or more of any character. So what I'm doing in this case is I'm saying that if there is a dash, then I want to get this text here, so to speak. And if there is no dash, then I don't want to get a text. So ignore this line. It doesn't have a dash. That's why I'm not taking it. All right. So that's basically a super simplified version of what's going on. All right. So now that we are parsing the text accordingly, what I want to do is I want to have another completion. So I'm going to use OpenAI here once again, and I'm going to use another OpenAI completion. And this one will use the same model, so the latest model, and then I'm going to add a message here, use the user role once again, and what I want to do is I want to say the following. So for the brand that I get from value, which is from this text parser here, mention its strengths in brief for the following areas of focus. For the competitor site name, which we get from our Airtable here, site name, and then we take the area of focus. So it could be either that we get it directly from the database, or we can get it from our pipe form. Either way is fine. And then we can go ahead and add another text parser here. So this next text parser, what that will do is it will match pattern again. So match pattern advanced. And the pattern that I want to use here is I'm going to use this pattern here where it says markdown \n. So basically what you very often get as an output from ChatGPT are these dashes. If you want to have text as HTML or markdown text or whatever, and I don't want these dashes. I only want to have the actual text. So that's what I'm saying with this pattern. But if you want to go deeper into it, just copy it out or type it out to ChatGPT and let it explain to you in more depth. So the text that I want to use here is going to be the result of my latest module. So of this one here. So this one is 7, this one is 8. So I want to get it from 9. I want to take the result from 9. So from this module here, I want to parse it with those patterns. Because if you look at this prompt here, if you dive deeper into it, because I didn't go over it too deep, but here it says, mention the strengths in a markdown code snippet without any styling like bold, italics, or underline, which ChatGPT loves to do as well. So with this, we're just saying, you know what, we're going to simplify the text and we're going to get rid of all of the editing that OpenAI just does with text. And we just take the pure text without any extra stuff. And then I want to create a record inside of Airtable based on the information here. So we, at this point, should be able to create a new competitor, all right? Because this will happen for every single one of our entries. Okay, you will see that in a bit. So here I will take the value for the name from my text parser here, and I will take the value for the strengths from my text parser here. And then I want to add site data. So we're creating a new entry, and the ID is what we get from our Airtable here. So whenever we are creating a record. All right, now let's just run it once and take our type form here and enter the data once again. Let's start here entering the name, email address, as well as the site URL. So here, https://make.com. The website's name is going to be Make, and area of focus is automation. And let's submit this form, and then we should see that it goes through this flow. It creates an entry for us. Perfect. And then it creates another and a third one. All right, you saw that. It created 3 entries for us. Let's look at the database here. And then after a little while, it created those competitors. So it says Zapier, Integromat, and Automate.io are competitors, and these are their strengths. All right, so that's cool. That seems to work. Then the next thing that we will need to do is to build out the bottom automation here, where we are actually now taking these strengths and then we're analyzing some more and putting it into a PDF and sending the PDF as email. In case you were wondering why there are 3 iterations, why this automation runs 3 times. So you see here, 3, 3, 3. That's because here we say that we want to check out 3 competitors. So we're telling it to do 3 competitors. So identify its top 3 competitors. And then this text parser here, what it outputs is 3 bundles. So it created 3 outputs, so to speak. And what this automation then does is it runs through every single bundle and does its flow. So it runs through this automation, then it runs again through this automation with the second bundle, and then through it once again with the third bundle. All right, so we have bundle 1, 2, and 3. That's why we said, you know what, OpenAI, give me the results only in this format. So just give me the competitors itself. Research the competitors, give me the competitors just as this kind of format, right? And it gave it to me. So as an output, we got this. So this text parser then takes the outputs and gives them in the right format. This is what I was talking about when we were putting this together. So we just said, hey, give me the lines with a dash. So in case ChatGPT decided to give us additional information, we would ignore that. So we just take the ones with a dash. And that's why we get from this input, we get 3 bundles, and that's why the iteration runs 3 times. Okay, so just in case you were wondering. And now let's build out the bottom flow. All right, so let's start with that. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to retrieve this ID here, and then we want to go through every single competitor for the given ID. Okay, because there are multiple different competitors, and for every single iteration that we go through with this type form, whatever competitors are available for a given website, they will be added here. But we don't want to go through all of them. We only want to go through the ones that are relevant for the particular website that we're looking at. So for the particular company that we want to create a competitor analysis for. So that's why we, first of all, are going to get a record here. So we get a record from our Airtable, and the record that we want to get is from our comp analysis YouTube, and specifically from the site data table, not from the competitors table, even though we want the competitors, but we want to get the site data, and there we want to get its ID, and it will be this ID here. All right, so this one right here, and let me just make sure that it actually takes the right data or the right table. Then after that, I need a flow control. So I will need an iterator. An iterator can take an array, and we're going to get an array of competitors here. So this will be the competitors that we get from this Airtable here. So we will select competitors from 12. You see the number 12 here? This is this number here. So that's why I know it's this Airtable that I get it from. So I'm going to get the competitors, and then with every single one of those, I want to load the competitor entry. So you see here, we have 1, 2, and 3. So these are linked fields. So this one is linking to the competitor with this information. So here, Zapier, wide ecosystem of integration, Zapier, blah, blah, blah. All of this information we have about Zapier. Then we have information about Integromat and so forth. So these are just linked to these here. All right. So these are the strengths that we just saw for Zapier, for Integromat, and for Automate.io. So what I want now is I want to get every single one of those competitors. So here we are going to say inside of our comp analysis base, inside of our competitors table, I want to get the record ID, which I'm going to get through this flow control. So from this iterator. All right. And then once I get this record, I can go and put it together into one text again. So I'm going to use tools, and here it's text aggregator. So I want to put the text together again, and I'm going to use whatever I get from this iterator, and I'm going to write something like competitor name, and that will be the competitor name that I get from this Airtable 14. So here name and strengths, and that will be the strengths that I get for that given competitor. And that should be good. And then what we can do is we can set this information and send it over to OpenAI to put something nice together. So to create a nice little text that we can then put together in a document. So here, create a completion. And here we're going to use ChatGPT once again with the latest model. So obviously, if you want to go cheaper, you can use the 4.0 mini or whatever is the currently cheap, good solution. That will change over time, obviously. So what you will do is you will add another message as a user with the text content, and the text content will be something like this. I'm going to say, I'm doing a competitor analysis on the brand with the following website URL. I'm focusing on the areas specified below and so forth. So now I just need to change all of these information here. So all of this here. So the site name I get from this record 12 here. So record 12 will give me the site name. From it, I can also get the site URL. I can also get the area of focus, as well as here I'm adding the site name Moichido. So one more time. And then I can take the text from my aggregator here, text aggregator. And here, once again, I'm just using the site name. Now, obviously, you could modify however this flow should look like or this text should look like, but I think that should be fine. So then I will use another text parser because ChatGPT just does its things and just gives you the data in such a convoluted way. So I'm just going to say I want to have a global match. I'm not looking into case sensitivity. I want to check multiple lines, and the pattern that I'm going to use is this markdown pattern again. And the text should be whatever the result of the ChatGPT output is. So this one right here. All right, I take its output, I put it in here. I use this pattern again because I say it here, or I tell it here to create it as a markdown, right? So here, provide the detailed improvements, competitors, embedded analysis in a markdown code snippet, okay? So now I am cutting it down again, and I'm taking this information to update the record. So here, update record, and the record that I want to update is the comp analysis site data, and the record ID is going to be the ID that I get from here, from 5. So I'm just going to use that. And what I want to update is the improvements. All right. So the improvements will just be the value that I get from this match pattern. So from this text pattern, and I just click OK, that the error goes away. So I want to take its value and store it inside of improvements, which will be, if we look at site data, this part right here. Okay. So now we get this information out of this ChatGPT module as a markdown, and I want to create HTML out of it. So I'm going to use this module here, markdown to HTML, and it's going to take the improvements, which are going to be of type HTML of markdown, and it just really makes sure that it will be a proper HTML output. Okay. So here, did I miss something? Well, let me check if I get it from there. No, I can't. All right, so I'm going to take this markdown and I'm going to convert HTML to PDF now. So here I'm going to use this PDF Co. There are multiple solutions for this, but I'm just going to use PDF Co, where it can convert HTML to PDF. You need to create a connection, so you can add a connection here and use your PDF Co API key. So you will need to go to PDF Co and then register. The good thing is it's rather inexpensive and it allows you to create a lot of PDFs. All right, so that's the tool that we're using. So I'm just making sure that I am converting HTML to PDF. And here the input HTML code will just be this here. So quite a long text. The code itself, the data itself that we want to pass on is going to be from our markdown. So here we get it from our markdown here. This is the HTML. So from this module. And then once we have this PDF, we can store it and upload it to OneDrive. So here I'm going to select OneDrive and this will be upload a file, and you will need to set up a connection if you don't have one. So once I'm done with that, I will just say that I want to store it inside of documents, and that's where this PDF will go. And I get the file from PDF Co convert HTML to PDF. So from this module here, it's automatically selected here, which is pretty cool. And the description, I'm going to add that, and I'm going to call this thing site name analysis. So whatever the site name was here, and dash analysis. All right. And at this point, we do upload the file, but we also want to get the file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to store it in Airtable. So I'm going to use OneDrive to get a file, and we get it from that particular connection here. And the file ID we will get from our other value here. So from this OneDrive. So it's called file ID. So this is where we upload it, and then we can download it here, and then we can store it inside of Airtable. So we're going to update a record, and it will be the record that we get. So the site data, we want to update that with the ID that we get at the beginning. Well, this one here. So we can use the one from 18. We can also use the one from here. It's always just this very first ID thingy. And then what is it that we want to update? Well, we have this analysis. So if you recall, here we have this analysis, and that's where I want to put the file. So that's where I want to upload it. And I'm going to select the file URL, which I'm going to get from this get a file, which is this download URL. And then the file name will be the site name dash analysis. All right. And at this point we can click OK. And finally, we want to send it as an email. Before we do that, however, I noticed one thing that I had missed, and that is the markdown. It should not take the improvements from 12 from my Airtable 12, but from 18 from this final one. That's really important because the other ones might not have any information. So I'm going to select the information right there. And then I will set up the email. So I'm going to use Gmail here. I'm going to send an email, and the email that I want to send is going to be, well, the subject should be Outperform site name. So here the site name should be site name with these key insights. The content should be a long HTML code here, and I'm going to just change the username, which I'm going to get from on my Airtable right there. And then we just need to add a recipient, and the recipient will be the email. And then if you want to add the attachment, then you need to scroll all the way down and select here PDF Co as the attachment. So add attachment, and then it will automatically show this PDF Co as an option. So this output from this module here. So I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to run it once, and I'm going to enter the form once again and show you the results in a bit. So let me submit that, and then it goes through the automation. All right, and there we are. So we got the insights here, the report is ready, and there we got our PDF, and the PDF looks pretty good. Market Edge Insights, your trusted partner in competitive intelligence. So competitor analysis from make.com, automation space. So there we have our competitor analysis. So that's pretty much where I would say we have something really cool here, a really good PDF. We went through the entire flow and we built out this automation. And we also see the file inside of our Airtable database. So that's it. That's pretty much our automation built from scratch. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a longer one, I understand that. And also, if you want to learn more about AI automation, definitely subscribe to this channel and join my community, because there you will learn a lot more than you did in this video. I went through things quite quickly, and in the AI automation masterclass, you will become a pro with Airtable and Make. So definitely check it out and join the community. You can find the link in the description below. All right, so what we want to achieve with automation is to save time, boost insights, and drive growth. So let's talk about the struggle we all face with manual competitor analysis. Well, it's time consuming, frustrating, and often incomplete. You spend hours digging through websites, trying to make sense of data, and still wonder if you've missed something important. Plus, keeping everything updated in real time, well, that's almost impossible without dedicated tools. And this isn't just inefficient, it's also holding your business back. But don't worry, there's a better way. So here's the exciting part. Imagine entering a website URL and in minutes having a detailed competitor analysis report ready to go. No manual work, no messy spreadsheets, just actionable insights delivered in a sleek PDF. And this automation that we're going to build is using AI tools to handle the heavy lifting. So you can focus on making smarter business decisions. And it's fast, it's reliable, and it's built to save you time and stress. So let me break down how this works. You start by entering the website you want to analyze. The system automatically pulls in the data, benchmarks it against competitors, and organizes everything into a clean, professional report. You can download it, share it, or even schedule recurring reports. The entire process is seamless. You get the insights you need without lifting a finger. So why is this such a big deal for businesses? First, it saves you hours of time. Time that you can spend actually strategizing instead of researching. Second, it delivers accurate, reliable insights every time. Third, it lets you analyze multiple competitors at once, so no one flies under the radar. Plus, it's real-time and cost-effective, and also easy to scale. So in short, this tool makes your life easier and your business smarter. This isn't just a tool, it's a way to make money. So you can sell these reports as a service to other businesses. Imagine offering competitor insights to small businesses or startups that don't have the time or resources to do it themselves. You could also bundle it with consulting services or create subscription packages for recurring revenue. The possibilities are endless, and it's an easy way to turn automation into income. So why would you choose this automation? Well, because it's simple, reliable, and powerful. You don't need any tech skills to use it. Just enter a URL, get your report. That's it. It integrates with tools you're probably already using, like Airtable and cloud storage, and it delivers professional quality results every single time. Plus, it saves you money compared to hiring someone to do this manually.